This video is demonstrating the use of the Forex Pro Toolkit with the Rubicon Indicator. As you can see, the indicator puts threshold lines where if the price crosses it, you're supposed to get into the trade, in this case on a sell signal. And once that happens, it puts in labels for suggested stop loss and take profit points. Now let's bring up the order UI and let's show the parameters. Okay, when using the Rubicon indicator, there are two parameters here. The first is use the Rubicon for stop loss. That just means that it will make your stop loss at the suggested stop loss level. Use Rubicon for take profit. That means that it will make your take profit point at the suggested take profit point. However, you have to use this in conjunction with some new parameters in the take profit. Alright. This is show take profit lines in charts. What this will do is put a line in the chart indicating where your take profit points are, just like the stop loss line. So you want to set this to true. That way the toolkit can set the line to the suggested take profit point, overriding these settings up here. Now when you do that, what it will do is make the first take profit point be at the suggested take profit point. It will still keep the percent closes. So say you have this instead of 100%, which would close out the trade at the suggested take profit point, you have it at 50%, and you have the rest of these 0, so that you're only using one take profit point. Alright, what will happen is the toolkit will close out half the trade at the suggested take profit point and let the rest of the trade run until it gets stopped out by whatever trailing stops you have set up. Or what you could do is still have this, and say this was, still have this set at 25, close out 50% there, and 50, and close out the rest of it there. Now what will happen is, since you're only showing one line, it will take half the trade at the suggested take profit point, and then half the trade still at 25 pips, and the rest of it at 50 pips. So that your normal setup is controlling the last two take profit points. If on the other hand you change this to 3 so that you have 3 lines showing up in your chart, it will put the first line at the suggested take profit point, the second line at a point half again the distance between your opening point and the suggested take profit point, and the third line at twice the distance between your opening point and your take profit point. And of course, since they're just lines in the chart, you can double click on them and move them to wherever you like if you don't like where they're situated. In this way, all 3 lines show up there and they will override the settings that you have here. Now note that this is only when a trade is signaled by the Rubicon indicator, which means that when the trade opens, there has to be indicators showing the suggested stop loss and take profit settings. If those don't appear, say for example you're doing a trade that has nothing to do with Rubicon, then your normal settings will still come into play. So once you have everything set up the way you want it, All you have to do is for every chart, once you determine that you actually want to do a trade on the suggested Rubicon trade point, you just move your stealth pending order line to that line and activate it. Then once the price hits that line, it will automatically create a sell order. It will see the indicators for the Rubicon and set up your stop loss and take profit points accordingly, so you don't have to do anything once the trade starts. This makes it much easier to trade a large number of charts. Also, you aren't tied to your computer, so that you can monitor the charts, set everything up, then go away for an hour or so and come back and look at them again. Now let's look at an example of using it. So we just drag the pending order line to the trigger line and then activate it. And now we just wait for the price to hit the trigger line. Now of course I'm fast forwarding through time to make this quick. And here we hit the trigger line for the Rubicon indicator, and it's attempting to do a buy order, and now it's done the buy order. Notice you have all three take profit lines here that I've set up, and the stop loss line goes directly through the suggested stop loss value, and the first take profit line goes directly through the suggested take profit. Here's a sell example. So we move the sell pending order line to the trigger line, and then we activate it. And here we've just hit the trigger line, and it's attempting to open a sell order. And here we have the sell order. Now, if you zoom in here, you'll notice that the stop loss and the first take profit don't exactly go through the recommendation from the Rubicon, and that's because this is a sell order and the difference is the spread. So you don't have to worry about taking the spread into account. And that's all there is to using the Forex Pro Toolkit with the Rubicon Indicator.